Hey everyone, it's Sandra and welcome to May Favorites. I actually have a really good, solid selection of beauty favorites this month, and I also have some non-beauty favorites, a little bit of fashion, and yeah, lots of goodies to share with you. First thing is skincare, and if you follow my blog, you will have already read my in-depth review of this. I will have a link to the review up on the screen and in the description box below if you want to hear more about it, but this is the Skinceuticals Blemish Age Defense. And this is a serum, so if you're like me and your acne decided to just say, hey, I'm not gonna leave you alone. It's your late 20s, I'm still gonna stick around and maybe who knows when I'm gonna go away. This serum has been so fantastic at just controlling the breakout, making sure that the pimples don't come to a head or that the cysts don't get inflamed. It just kind of calms everything down. I love this serum and I didn't think I would love it because it does contain a lot of alcohol in it. This was actually sent to me by the brand, so when I first read the ingredients list I was like, oh god, alcohol is like the first ingredient on this. I don't think it's gonna be good for me. I don't think it's gonna work. But it does work, so I just have been super impressed with this. Again, be wary, especially if you have drier or sensitive skin, because this has a very high alcohol content and this might irritate you. I do have oily, quite resilient skin, so I have had really good results with this. I just apply this. It has a dropper applicator. It's quite a watery serum, and even though it has such a high alcohol content, I also think it's balanced with some emollient ingredients as well, because it doesn't feel dry on the skin at all. It actually has a little bit of a slip to it, and it's quite emollient. So I don't know how they do this in this magical concoction, but it's been working really well for me, and I like the fact that there are products out there catering to people that are struggling both with acne and anti-aging. So this has been really good. It's worth checking out. Then for foundation, I've had this trio of products that I have been using non-stop. I've been using this combination of products in the morning. I've even used this combination of products for my friend's wedding this month. I just can't stop, won't stop. This has been my go-to base. And the first thing is this primer. I talked about it in my morning routine, but it's the Murad Invisiblur Perfecting Shield. It's SPF 30 and a foundation primer. It's super thin. It just feels like a silicone primer going onto the skin, so it doesn't have that thick, greasy feeling that you would normally associate with a sunscreen. So I love it. I love that about it. So I've been using that with the Makeup Forever Ultra HD foundation, and I actually found that it helps this foundation last a lot longer. This foundation does not have the very best lasting power on oily combination skin, but when I wear it with this primer, it actually ends up lasting me throughout the day. So I've been using the foundation on this Zoeva brush. I have been so impressed with this brush. It's such a good foundation brush. The 102 Silk Finish foundation brush by Zoeva, very sturdy. It feels really nice in your hand. If you don't want to order online from Zoeva and you want something comparable, this is very similar to the Sephora Mineral Foundation brush, so you can use the Sephora brush. I feel like the bristles of this brush are a little bit softer and I do get a better foundation application, but the Sephora Mineral Foundation brush does have a very similar shape. Put the foundation right on the brush, then I work it into the skin and I'm good to go. I don't like this foundation with a beauty blender. I do prefer it with a buffing brush. So this has been my go-to base, and I am planning on doing a makeup tutorial. My next makeup tutorial that I do, I'm going to feature this base combination and some of the products I'm going to mention in this video just so you can see them in action. But this is actually the foundation combination that I'm wearing on my face today. The next two products I'm going to talk about are eye products, and it's an eye product combination. The Burberry Eye Color Contour is so good. This is in the color Almond. It's a perfect all over the lid eye color, and if you like MAC Groundwork Paint Pot, I think this will be your next love. I personally prefer the application of a stick cream eyeshadow. I find that you get more control and they're easier to work with. I just put this all over the lid and then I blend it out either with my fingers or with a fluffy brush like the MAC 217 works really well with it. And it blends out so nicely. It doesn't set too fast. You definitely get a lot of blending time, and then when it does set, it does not move, it doesn't crease. It works beautifully by itself if you want a more natural daytime makeup look, and it also works really well layered with other things. I've been loving it layered with this product, and that's the eye look that I'm wearing today. This is Rose Ashes by Giorgio Armani. I've talked about this before. This is the ultimate My Eyelids But Better color. It has the most luxurious soft sheen. It's a very interesting combination of a pale gold with a hint of taupe and a little bit of rose running through it. It's got a beautiful rose duochrome, and the texture of this is beautiful. It blends in, it layers with products very nicely. It also works really well by itself, and it's quite wet when you first apply it. It comes with a doe foot applicator, and it's quite wet when you first apply it, but then when you just pat it into your eyelid, I use my fingers. I just pat it in with my fingers and then it sets. Just gives a really beautiful, sophisticated finish to the eye. And the last makeup product I want to talk about is a blush, and it's a Becca Luminous Skin Perfector blush. This is the shade Camellia. I really did not think I would like the Becca Luminous Skin Perfector blushes, but this shade just sang to me. It's so pretty, and even though it looks scary, frosty when you look at it in the pan, I personally prefer satin or matte finish blushes because I do have some acne scarring on my cheeks, and I find that a lot of the times if I use something that's super frosty, it can kind of accentuate that texture, but this doesn't do that. It just kind of gives a luminous, beautiful luminous finish to the skin. I am wearing this today, and I've actually been wearing it in most of the time, actually, on any posts on Instagram or anything like that. I've been wearing this blush quite a lot, and it's just such a pretty color. Here it is swatched on the back of my hand as well. And I love the fact that it can be super pigmented. You can really build it up if you want an intense color deposit, but it can also be sheared out. The texture of the blush is very easy to work with. It's not patchy at all. You can also shear it out. You can wear it on top of other blushes as kind of like a highlighting blush topper. I like to wear it by itself just with a bit of bronzer, and I feel like I don't need highlight or anything. It just gives enough luminosity all on its own. I've just been loving this so much, and I think this has replaced NARS Deep Throat for me. NARS Deep Throat used to be my go-to blush. If I wanted just a kick of color to the cheeks, but I wanted a nice shimmery finish, this is easier to work with, and the finish is a little bit more, it's more luxurious. It's a nicer luminous finish. So I do like this better than NARS Deep Throat, which says a lot because I've loved NARS Deep Throat for many years. Now for fashion, I do have one fashion favorite for the last month, and it's this pink sweater from Topshop. And I don't usually wear a lot of pink, but something about this particular shade of pink and the texture of the sweater, I absolutely love the mock neck. I love the sleeves. It's kind of like, it's a bit of a 70s vibe type of sweater. It's absolutely perfect for this time of year, transitioning between spring and summer, because there are some days and some nights where it's actually pretty cold outside. For non-beauty favorites, I have two non-beauty favorites for you, and the first is this, and this is a almond milk coffee creamer, and this is so good. This has made my chai lattes so much more satisfying than they were before. I used to just use regular almond milk when I would make chai tea lattes. This is the Califia Farms almond milk creamer. This is the hazelnut flavor, but I actually like the vanilla flavor a little bit more. Fortunately, you cannot buy this in Canada. I buy this in the United States. You can find it at Whole Foods, and I've seen it at tons of different grocery stores as well. This is so good. It makes a really nice froth as well. So if you have a milk frother, this will work really well in lattes. It's delicious. So if you have access to this brand, look for it in your dairy alternative aisle at the grocery store and try it in your coffee, try it in your tea, and let me know if you like it. This has been the best alternative I have found to a dairy creamer, and it's great when, you know, when I buy this in the United States and I cross over, I go back home to Canada with it, and the border agent asks, "So what are you bringing in today?" I say, "I bought some coffee creamer." I always get a weird look and like, "What? Why?" I'm like, "This stuff is so good." So yeah, I'm the weirdo that crosses the border with coffee creamer, but I love it, love this stuff. And the last thing I wanted to talk about is a TV show, and I'm very late on the bandwagon with it. I'm currently still on season 2. I think the show is currently on season 5. The show Once Upon a Time, totally obsessed with it. Even my boyfriend likes it, so we watch it together, and it's so good. It starts off super cheesy, so the first 5 episodes, you're kind of like, oh my god, what am I watching? But then it gets really good, and I'm hooked now. And it's the perfect show to binge watch. On a rainy day, on a weekend, you just want to stay in and watch a TV show. Once Upon a Time is great. Each season has like 22 episodes. Each episode is 45 minutes long. So there's a lot of TV show out there to binge. All right, so that concludes this month's favorites video. If you have any questions about any of the products I mentioned, please feel free to ask them below, and also check the information box before you ask a question, because Any in-depth reviews I have and blog posts with pictures of any of the products that I mentioned, I will also link in the description box below. So hope you have had a fantastic May, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.